Shalom, shalom, shalom. Now we speak about our the discussion. Today we were blessed to listen to our rabbi. It's funny, he's been gone now. It's going to be 5 years. And it's when we listen to him on Zoom, it's like he's still here.
Yeah.
We're keeping his memory going and his teachings, and I'm so grateful to him for that. So what did you learn from the message, Miriam?
Well, just quite a few things, because I remember hearing when he talked about how the law of thermodynamics, him as having studied that, a scientist, how that helped in a way to lead him to God. Like there's so many things. God is like, it's so personal. Like you can say, you can't prove God, but you could show things, how in God's creation it shows the reality of God. For some people, they'd say, how could you look? I remember certain people would say, they would get angry if he said science could show, like there's not a contradiction between science and God. God created the world, and there's certain laws within the world that God created. But anyway, from what I understand about the law of entropy, only to think, if I could remember what that is, maybe Angel will know more. But from what I understand, the law of entropy is that everything is sort of going down, right? And
Everything
creation
disintegrates.
disintegrating, getting like, and I think I remember what the rabbi said about the
had a
law of
rough-
thermodynamics is that everything isn't going down; it's getting more complex, and things are.
Well, that's why he said if everything disintegrates
Yes, God
naturally,
had to hold it
what
up.
keeps renewing it?
It's God. But I love that. I remember how much that hit me. So it hit me again, just hearing it again. And just what he said about a lot of things, about Hammurabi and all these people who they do have moral codes. And when at one point the rabbi said, this is what I think, but to me, okay, you could say, but to me, it's not even a thought. God has said that he has put more, and he didn't use the word morality, but he has put his very spirit in our hearts. And one place that I always talk about is in Ecclesiastes. Anyway, I forget the Hebrew. What's the Hebrew for?
Oh, Kohelet.
Kohelet, yeah. He said, God has put eternity in men's hearts, humans'
Right.
hearts. What does that? That means God has put his very presence in our hearts. And to me, the 10 Commandments, as he said, there were peoples that had a moral code before even the Mount Sinai giving of the 10 words. So God has given us a moral code inside
Right.
each one of us,
All humanity.
all humanity.
And it resonates in those who are open to hearing his message when he gives it. Yes, Brian.
Sorry, just can I,
Yeah.
before I forget Brian, then come next?
Hold on a second, Brian. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Brian. I just want to say one thing quickly. Years ago, I read a book that so fascinated me by some sort of anthropologist, whatever, a believer in God. And he studied many different cultures, very primitive, ancient cultures that some of them still having peoples all over the world now. And the interesting thing is that all these cultures had some very similar creation stories. And then what happened is they became disobedient, and they worshipped many gods, but they all had a name for only one creator of the whole universe. These are all sorts of diverse cultures, meaning that our history is wrong. When people say monotheism came after, it didn't come after, it came first. But this is the first book first time I ever heard that other cultures, ancient cultures, and some of them it was like a whisper. They wanted to go back to that. I read that this is a man who collected these stories, and there was always one God. So it shows you God came to the world before all these people developed multiple gods.
Well, we think that other gods are other godly beings, but really, Pharaoh was considered a god. He was a man. So all these created gods, all the gods that they formed, were all in the image of man, our
Right.
image. If you look at them all, you look at many of the Hindu gods, they all take on human shape or animal shape, which is a created being, and then it has these supposedly these superpowers. But
Yeah.
they're
But the
all
idea that, people say monotheism developed later, it really didn't.
even in
According,
Christianity, it started out as monotheism.
so
The
that's what I'm
Trinitarians,
saying.
no, that's not what you said. You didn't talk specifically about
No, I
Christianity.
didn't talk about Christianity.
But even what I'm saying is even in Christianity, it started out as monotheist. Later, it became Trinitarians, and
Yeah,
the
that's
Trinitarians
interesting.
fought and killed the monotheists
Right,
in
right,
order
right,
to promote their false doctrine.
right, right. But I find that amazing.
I
Yeah.
know it is. Brian, did you want to say something?
I just had a robbery.
You had a robbery right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, when you were doing the Ten Commandments, stealing. I had
Someone came.
on my little table a paring knife, black handle, and it's not here. And I thought the person who came to bring me the tray, I told her, "Where's my thing?" She said, "I didn't see it," because she's the only one that came in here. I have this other one, a red knife here. This is with a special cover on it. But
So
the one that I
somebody
is black.
broke one of the Ten Commandments. Could have
Yeah,
been an accident.
and I wasn't on the tray, but then she says they might have took it down.
All right. Well,
Uh,
we'll figure it out later. We'll get you another knife, okay? We'll have to get you another knife, and let's hope that whoever did it by accident will return it to
I
you.
told her I didn't put it on the tray,
Okay,
If she
Brian.
didn't touch it,
Okay.
it would be still here.
All right. We'll figure it out. But that's an example of breaking the Ten Commandments. Angel, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, it's fascinating. This message that Rabbi gave us. It says that is the real message that he has been bringing to us until he left us, but always about the paradigm shift.
Yes.
Because there is so much that we have been learning, and in a good faith, because I believe that anyone who really truly wants to find God, he wants to find God. And what is the first place that you go to find God? Everybody knows, oh, I have to go to the synagogue. If you're Jewish or you are Christian, you go to the church. Or if you are if you are a Muslim, you go to the mosque. And if you are a Buddhist, you go to the temple. So you can see that was the first step. Okay, there is that desire, to come and look for God. It doesn't mean that God is going to be in that place. But if we look at it from the perspective, from the spirit, God rejoiced and watching the man having this desire for looking for him, because that is is the main goal. Find God, living with him, and the problem is that yes, in this how can I say, life where we have religions, and we have all different kinds of religions, all different set of rules, and as Rabbi was saying that there's very similarity, very similarity with all these codices that even before Moshe received the Ten Commandments,
right?
And because remember, we have to remember that before Abraham, okay, there were all the civilizations. We have civilizations that last from periods of time. So that means that men on this planet had already a relationship, supposedly, with divine creator or divine beings, expression of the divine in other cultures, in other things. Now, but this was only this is my opinion. There was the way how men to start walking, and as we walk, and Rabbi already talked about, he realizes and he saw a lot of things that put him to ask questions about life, and to the point that he became an atheist, right? And you are a Jew, you cannot be atheist. I'm sorry. According to you are you're descendant of Abraham. You already have that in your lineage, in your blood line. So as we can see, I don't want to make it too long, but
it isn't a bloodline.
No,
It
I
is.
know that it's not the bloodline, but I
Yeah.
mean, what I'm talking about, it's just you are generations that they came from Abraham, and that they have been keeping all this faithfully, thinking that this is the right thing to do. But what if I tell you that this is not exactly what God wants us to do? That the job is in every single human being has the spark of God. I'm talking
Yes,
to human.
that's what Rabbi said.
Every human has the spark of the divine,
Yes.
God himself, which is connected to him. It's instantaneous. It's a quantum, entanglement. Are we now discovering about in physics about how everything works? Like now explains now how someone can pray here in Canada for someone in Israel, and all of a sudden the person heals in Israel through this prayer, because we are all connected, and we are all connected. Sorry, we are all connected. Either you are Muslim, either you are Buddhist, you are Christian, you are Jewish. We are all connected to the same creator, because God is creator of all, everything. And I'm not talking about human race. I'm talking about other things that we have not yet discovered, but pretty soon we're going to discover. And these are angelic, well, we have considered angelic beings all this time. But now, just to tell you that the individual effort is in every single one of us to search for God and finding the creator within, listening to the creator within us, not from one outside, because all these systems, they started right, but we're starting to make it like in a way that we create a system that is man-made, that has a little bit of inspiration, yes, supposedly with some encounters, divine encounters with angelic beings, or call it angels, call it prophets. Also, they have encounters, and that shape with thousands of years in the doing these religions, and it becomes big to the point that we only use our brains, okay, in the sense of, okay, if I do this, this is what they say to us to do it, but it separates from every single individual to look within him and say, okay, I'm going to listen, and I'm going to search for God in my heart, within me, and listen to his voice. And for that, it requires a big paradigm shift, which means you have to go within, you have to forget everything that you have learned. You cannot, and
it's a
funny
process. It's a process.
And that is why they're ultra orthodox, or the orthodox, that they are really
Set in their ways,
no, they are in their zeal,
in their zeal.
in their zeal for not breaking out. They are not anymore able to go within, because everything, it's about what they have been programmed in their heads, and it's a system of defense. They are not allowing the heart to speak by itself. I'm not talking about all of them. This is just,
Of course.
I know that there are some
Yes.
good ultra orthodox. I met one. Yochanan was a good man.
Yes. Yes.
Him?
Yes.
He told me Hebrew.
But you see that in every Orthodox religion, even the Orthodox Catholics or Orthodox Muslims.
Exactly.
Any religion will do that.
Do you know what is one thing that is key in all of this, in all these religions? The ones that they have the love for God, you will find them in them.
Yes.
There will be a shining light that everyone will see, and they will say, oh, there is something special with this man.
Exactly.
Either Jew, either Muslim, either Buddhist, that's the light. And when we become this light for others, the others, they start, it's like an attraction, everybody wants to know more, and everyone wants to be part of that. Because why? Because the same spark is shining on them, and they want to be one, because God is one. You understand that? So the Spirit of God in every single one of us wants to be all together. That is the concept of praying all together. Why? Why it's when one or more are in my name, gathered in my name? Because the Spirit of God, it's it manifests like strongly, Now, and So it's about living a life within the divine spark in us, not with an external human-made religious system. The power that this system has over us is that the power that we gave to it.
Right.
Okay. If you give importance to this system, you're giving it all the power to it. But instead you say, I'm giving the power to the Spirit, the God that is with me, the Creator that is me. Then that is how okay now. So now, but the truth of the matter is that the real power is in the Spirit. Okay. That's why you go to this, there are some religious people that are able to heal people because they, through the Spirit, the Creator, they are able to pray, and they are, but when you see cases of miraculously people who gets healed, people that stand up and start to walk, like all these miracles that Rabbi Yeshua did in his time, okay, and all these also all the people who right now we have, all these the disciples, they did also the same thing, and they're and so forth, so many generations. So now the divine spark of God that is in us, and we don't need anything external. That is the problem, is that we have in our mind, we have programmed to believe that it's all external, when the Word of God says that the Word of God is not far, that you cannot reach. It's closer than you think. What is the Word of God? Is referring to the Spirit, is the Creator, is the manifestation of a God consciousness. And that God consciousness is in every human heart, every human soul. The problem is we decided, as I was like a few years ago, like many years ago, to live my life according to my understanding, but not to according to the Spirit understanding, the heart, and that is the big difference. That is when we make that paradigm shift from being under certain, how can I say, under the regulations and under the Yeshua called it also, I think, the burden, okay? And he talks about follow my, take my burden that is light, that is, I don't remember exactly the words. I'm not I don't remember, but he talks about to take the burden, to carry the burden that the religious are putting over the shoulders of every single one, but they are not more important than the one that you have is to listen to the Spirit in our hearts. Okay, I'm gonna be with this. I'll finish. So the Creator, the Ruach that is in us, it is not okay.
In your face.
Okay, the Spirit that we were taught about, God. Oh yeah, but in order to be blessed, you need God. You have to do certain things. You have to do. There is a requirement. It's like if a God, knowing already, as I already told you, that the Spirit is in every single human soul. So now, the system create a way where you have to earn it, and you have to gain through doing a lot of things. There's a system of points. It reminds me a system of rewards. The financial system that you have, the world system with the credit cards and the debit cards, it's the same thing. But instead of using credit cards, you use certain things that you have to do, in order to gain God. But God is within us. You know what I mean? It's completely what was starting in the beginning to guide us and to lead us to have an encounter with God, with Spirit. It has somehow gone straight to the point that it's separating the main purpose. It's making the purpose completely off, and so many people are basically lost in that way of thinking, in that way of teachings, in that way of living.
But how do you think?
It is already in. We don't need. I mean, okay, there is certain, because we are human, and there are certain things that we need to do in order to preserve our way of life. That is true, and that's why we have some commandments that they guide us and they preserve us for many things. Like, for example, if you steal someone, you go into the bank, you risk to get shot, you know, by the police security, or you could die. So it's obvious that there is certain rules that they preserve a certain order in life to guide us and to do things.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt for one thing, a second, Angel. I don't agree with this statement you're making now, because unless I'm not misunderstanding, but commandments aren't there because there are consequences, but because it's a moral principle.
Yes.
Not to steal. It's not about having to do with at all with consequences.
No, what
So-
I'm
No,
referring
but some
about,
people say
Yeah.
that, when I've talked to people, I'm saying that God has put morality in us. They say, well, no, we make the principles, because
Yes.
what you're saying, if
What
we
I'm-
steal,
yeah,
we'll
I
be put in
understand.
jail, blah, 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 has
Cameron's
nothing to
dirty.
do
okay,
with
what
that.
I'm referring about the commandments, I'm referring more about human made up rules. Okay.
Oh, I
Obviously,
thought you were talking about the 10 Commandments.
no, no, sorry. I'm talking more, referring more about well, I was talking about the commandments, but I was saying they are a guide for us to live a life, you know, in light, and to guide us through this. But what I'm saying is the other set of rules, okay? Like, for example, rules like many Orthodox, in case of Orthodox, they have, you know, they want to live like this. I don't have any problem. I'm not here to change anything. But what I'm trying to say is, like, when you create rules and you give too much importance to these rules, what they don't have really in reality, okay? They are not important because, you know, like, for example, that if you eat in a plate, okay, you know, that first of all, you know, it doesn't matter if it's, you know, you have different sorts of plates or things, different plates, you know, the point is, we have to watch out where, when we apply certain things, that we don't go too far away from the meaning, okay? And the problem with you trying to interpret things with your understanding, with your own mind, and you don't understand through the Spirit, to the Creator, the meaning, the purpose, then we go to that point where we starting wearing only white socks instead of blue socks, or you know what I mean? So
Cameron's dirty.
so okay, so just, and with this I finished, and just when okay, so it is already, as I was saying, that we don't need to earn anything. I mean, in the sense of talking, referring that, oh, if you want to God to be in your life, you have to do this. It's already in you. What we have to do is to go within and communicate to Him. It's search in our hearts, search God Spirit in within every single one of us.
Exactly.
And this is this is up to us. Don't expect the rabbi to do it for you.
Exactly.
Don't expect
That's what he used to say all the time.
the prophets doing it for you, because yes, as the prophets, and also listen to this, as the prophets were sent, as the priests and the Levites, they were put in there for a purpose, the priesthood. They were just there to help us to start with, okay, to start teaching the people. Remember, and once that we all teach each other, the community, learn about it, it's about every single one path to go to, you know, to the same thing. Do you know that it's curious that the Egyptians, they have a priesthood? The oldest man religions you're going to see, there was always a priesthood, because they
Yeah,
were
the
put in there.
this is named Yitro, who
Mhm.
was a Kohen of
Exactly.
Midian.
Yeah,
He was a
exactly.
priest.
Yes.
Yes.
So and they were offering you know,
Offerings.
offerings
Yes.
of fire.
Yes.
You can say, oh no, but they didn't give,
Yeah.
they didn't receive yet the Torah and the commandment about the concerning about the mitzvot, concerning about the sacrificial. Do you think that God was not rejoicing that two priests, or two you know, the Midianites and Israel were sitting together, giving thanks to God. Okay, the
Yes.
same Creator,
Absolutely.
being in a peaceful unity together in that time. You know,
Exactly.
not only because they were family relative or whatever, because it was,
Yeah.
but more than that. Let's go to the spiritual, because it has a lot of meaning, and that gathering together. You know.
Yes. We've all, as Rabbi said, we've all have the divine sparkle.
Yeah, it was so cute.
It's so cute, the divine sparkle in
Yeah,
us.
spark. I
The
will
golden
remember that. I will
nuggets.
remember. You know, I always talk about the spark. I will
Yeah.
remember that, because it is
Yeah.
true. It's a fact, and it's up to us. You know, every
Yeah.
single one to go, because
But
if
it's
we continue,
interesting. It's interesting. 1 second, because last week we talked about it. When the sperm connects with the egg, at that moment when they come together, they've shown pictures of a spark of light, of energy that is created.
and the best part is like everything disappears, and then all the world appears again. It's like there is a miracle happening. Like, you know, all of a sudden, if you see it, there is a light and something. What happened? Where did it go? You know, and then all appears again. It's magnificent. The
Yeah.
God's ways. Once that we get to understand God and to be close to God, you know, He will reveal little by little
I
everything
know.
that we
It's
need to
marvelous.
know. Everything, and the more that we listen to Him,
Yeah. Yeah.
the more that we are gonna have discernment, and the more that we're gonna realize that not that we were wrong. Remember, it's an state. We are in a religious. Sometimes we are, as we walk, we learn. It's a process. You know, we
Yes.
walk, but we cannot get stuck in there. We
No,
need
we
to
keep
advance.
growing.
We
It keeps
need to keep going. We cannot,
Yes.
you know, because it's a system who stays stand and doesn't evolve with the years. It will it will, how can I say, no disappear, but it will stay always at the same. There is no improvement. There is not.
Exactly.
No, and if you see God's creation, just watching the universe, how they start, they continuing.
Yes.
More life, more you know, more planets,
Yes.
more
Exactly.
universes, more. It's always, and this is God. This is the creator, you know.
Yeah. It's
And
beautiful.
yeah, so yeah, that's it. But that's what
Yeah.
I basically I want. I just wrote this before when I was listening.
No, but that's beautiful, Angel. You're speaking to the choir.
Yeah, I
We
know.
do
The
understand that.
number,
It's wonderful.
yeah, and the number one enemy that we have is when we trying to make it pass it through our minds, when things are not cannot be measured or cannot be understood if we don't do it through the spirit, to the creator.
Well, it has to be both together, because each of us are given a role. Just because we have the divine spark
Yeah.
within us doesn't mean we are the spark. It doesn't mean we are God. You know, what the battle is that we're fighting the pharaohs of the world, and even we can be pharaohs when we become too proud to understand, and then God humbles us, because really the ego wants to take over, so we
Exactly.
forget.
Yeah, the ego
Yeah.
is our number one too, because who wants to do learn everything that we have learned? Like
Yeah.
many Jewish people, they don't question anything, because they believe 100% that, and you know, I
But
understand.
that's anybody. It's not
And
just Jewish
Jewish
people.
people,
How many
or
Christians do the
all
same thing?
everyone, because they don't to be close-minded is not a good thing. There has to be a balance. And when
Exactly.
even God says in the Torah, when somebody comes to you and start talking about God,
Wait, Brian, please. Wait.
And-
I see your hand.
and you know, and they have the duty to investigate. You need to search for truth, and you need to find it. You need to know if this is true or not. And one of the reasons why most of the Orthodox, they don't want to listen to these people who speak, I mean, those Messianic Jews, or Jews that believe in Yeshua, and many, they are
There's a
afraid.
difference between believing in Yeshua,
Yeah.
because you don't believe in a man.
Mhm.
We only believe in God. We're
In
not
the message of Yeshua, yes.
in the
I'm
yeah,
not
but
referring.
the message of Yeshua was that we needed to go back to the original message of Moses. Moses brought us the commandments. These are the boundaries that we needed to live within. Moses wasn't fighting with
Okay.
a whole rabbinic system at that time, not the system that was in Rome. Moses was fighting a Pharisaical, the Pharaoh's system. The
But
other
it
one
goes
was,
beyond.
I
It
mean,
goes
the
beyond that,
Pharisees
Peggy.
was
It's about finding God within yourself. When
that
Yeshua was talking, he was talking, my Father, because why? He was talking from within. He wasn't talking from what I learned from a rabbi or from, no. He was talking for the creator, the source of every life, human life, creation, everything.
but he wasn't undoing what Moses brought us. He wasn't throwing out
No,
the
no, no. He
Torah.
wasn't doing, because that was, given for us for the purpose of initiating human, and in this case Israel, to have a relationship with God in a more close way. In order, but what is okay? When you don't steal, you are loving your neighbor because you appreciate their things that they have as if they were yours. When you don't steal his wife or you don't commit adultery, why are you doing that? Because of love, because you love your neighbor and you want the best for them. You want to be in love. You want to enjoy his wife. You want the best for him.
Of
It's all
course.
based in love. It's all
Exactly.
based that what is that God is, you know?
That's exactly what Moses was telling, what Yeshua was saying when they asked him, how do you sum up the 10 commandments? He said, love God with all your heart, your soul, your resources. That's the first 3 commandments. And love your neighbor, the last 5, mishpatim, as you love yourself, the middle 2. That summed up all the 10 commandments, which is what we're to do. But it doesn't mean we throw out the 10 commandments. We live by them and follow in the footsteps of our Rabbi Yeshua. And yes, but sometimes we become too spiritual and we forget that the spirit has to be together because we're living in a body. This body that's why we have a constant struggle day after day. When we go through a rough period and then all of a sudden we see God open doors that are absolutely amazing. Like I just had that happen to me this week. I am so overwhelmed after being ill for 2 months and having to learn what was going on in me, constantly searching and praying and asking God. And then, boom, there's a lifting, there's a healing there. And it's like you're so grateful. It's like the spirit within just rejoices. And there's a humility that happens that makes us humble, makes us thank God for absolutely everything, no matter what's going on around us. We're living in very difficult times right now. A lot of people are suffering, a lot of people are struggling. And yet those who are searching for God, who God has chosen, somehow we see that he's with us through all these things. And it's absolutely amazing. Yes, Brian. Yes. You're on mute. You're on mute. If you're going to talk about the knife, we'll talk about it later, okay?
No, it's not the knife. It's Angel's picture. It's too greenish.
Okay. All right. And
It means
Miriam's,
it's
yours keeps
dirty.
getting stuck.
Oh, really?
Your Wi-Fi, yeah. I know it's a
Oh.
new system. You may need to talk to them because you've gotten stuck. You've frozen about 3 times.
So were you, so maybe it's just the connection generally.
Oh, maybe it's a general connection. It's
Yeah.
possible.
Angel, you hear that? Your picture's too greenish.
Yes, it's okay. Right now
And
he's becoming a leprechaun. That's why he's going through a paradigm shift. He's
well,
now a
look at your picture,
leprechaun.
look at my picture. The color's good.
Yes, we know, Brian. Thank you
I
for
heard you
revealing this
finish.
truth.
You know, Brian, if I show you the light, you wouldn't be able to see me.
I
Oh,
Wow.
you
Now we
have
can't
to
see you.
put
It's
a light in
true.
front of your face.
That's why if I show my light, you wouldn't be able to see me, you know? I
All
need
right, I know
to
that's
move
backlight.
I
Don't
have to
That's
put
a
myself
you
in
need
teaching.
a light in front of your face.
That's a
Color.
teaching about God. If he shows his complete light, we cannot see him because he's full light.
No, but
But
why
you need
not?
a light.
We'll
You
see
need a
it.
light in front of your
We'll
face.
see it.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Baruch. Okay, Baruch. We got it. We got the picture. There now it's beige. It's no longer green.
Oh,
See
okay.
that?
There, now you have a light in front of your face. It's good.
Okay, very good.
Uh,
Sari, how are you? ¿Cómo estás?
I'm fine, thank you. I love
Yeah.
you, family.
Thank you. You're learning more English?
El próximo lunes empiezo mis clases de inglés.
Oh,
Watch
good.
English TV.
Sí, sí. Y ya los voy a entender bien, ya no se me va a escapar nada.
What did she say?
Watch English TV.
Brian, I can't hear when you're
she
speaking.
said that she's gonna understand everything and nothing is gonna escape from her understanding.
Wonderful. What amazes me is how she
Amazing.
sits here for 2 hours when we're all speaking English and Hebrew, and she's just so patient, and it's wonderful. Tell her that. It's wonderful that she's
Ya
here.
ella, Sarai, Peggy dice que es maravilloso que tú estés por cada Shabbat, que estás 2 horas escuchándonos en hebreo, en inglés, and es maravilloso ver eso y ella está muy agradecida por ello.
Yo los amo a todos, ustedes son mi familia.
Sí, es
Sí.
verdad. She's a family, part of the family. That's the Commonwealth of Israel.
Yeah.
That's why he says the house of Jacob and the house of Israel, because it was always meant to be. Adam and Eve knew God. God walked with them. God has been with us since the very beginning of time, and it's absolutely wonderful. So anyway, Angel, thank you for your input. Thank you for your liturgy today. It was a blessing for us. Brian, take care of yourself and keep looking for the knife. You never know, maybe it'll show up and we'll get you a new knife. Saturday-
If I put it in the other place, it would have been here. But when I put it on that little table there, should have been on the table. I didn't put it
Yes,
in the.
it should have been on the table. It's all your fault. You didn't put it away. Oh, well.
I didn't put it in the other
Miriam,
place.
good to see you, everybody. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. Moshe,
They're not supposed to touch it.
Moshe, have a blessed week, everybody. And a
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank
Shabbat
you.
Shalom.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Y una buena semana.
Sí, sí,
Gracias.
gracias.